Good morning. It is Thursday, May 1st. Here is what we are working on this morning. Niagara police have arrested a man following a double stabbing in St. Catharines.
The Ontario government considers shortening the length of Teachers College in half.
And the Washington Capitals send the Montreal Canadiens packing. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. I am in for the rest of this week and a few days next week as well. Not a bad drive in this morning. It was not bad weather-wise, a little bit cooler, definitely nicer than yesterday, but this is how my morning started. I don't have a lot of red lights on my way into work, but I hit all of them. Like 5 in a row.
Good for you.
Only 5?
Yeah, I only have 5, yeah.
Oh,
but
I probably go through 20.
Yeah.
And by go through, I mean stop at red lights.
Stop at them. Yes.
Stop and then proceed while it's still red.
Yes, exactly. Nice to know that you stop at a red light. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Brian, what is today?
I can tell you it is the 1st of the month.
There we go.
There we are. All right. We have to get that in every. Thank you for remembering. Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit of a change. Yesterday we had the sunshine. Today, not so much sunshine. I mean, the sun is just, another 10 minutes, the sun will be up. So we're going to see a little bit of it this morning, and then it looks like cloud showers, possible thunderstorms for the day. We could get 5 millimeters of precip today, maybe 5 to 10. Niagara could get 10 to 20 millimeters overnight tonight. So unsettled today. Unsettled tonight, tomorrow, and even into Saturday as well. And today's high is going to be cooler. We'll only get to 10 degrees, which is below seasonal. So we'll talk about that coming up. How about a look at traffic and see how we're doing this morning? No stoplights here at the 403 and Waterdown Road. We're moving okay, so nobody has to stop there. That's our exclusive camera. To a few MTO traffic cameras. Nothing at Nikola Tesla Boulevard, Toronto bound to the Skyway, heading away from us on the other side of the Skyway. This is the camera, they call it South of 2, but it's around North Shore Boulevard. Looks good, and then flip it ahead to Broady Road. Nothing to see right there. Nothing to see in traffic this morning, so that's good. We'll look at weather and traffic in detail coming up in a few minutes for you. Right now, the news.
Thank you very much, Brian. A man has been arrested after a double stabbing in St. Catharines last night. 2 men were found with serious stab wounds on Manchester Avenue near Ontario and Carleton Streets just before 10 p.m. One victim was taken to hospital while the other was airlifted. A 33-year-old man with no fixed address was arrested nearby and is facing 2 counts of aggravated assault.
Halton police are on the lookout for a vehicle they believe was involved in Tuesday's deadly shooting in a Burlington parking lot. It is a gray, newer model Honda Civic with tinted windows. No suspect descriptions, though, have been released and no arrests have been made. Police say a man in his 50s was killed in the Mandarin parking lot at Fairview and Brant on Tuesday night. Investigators believe the shooting was targeted and say that there is no known risk to public safety.
Burlington's new short-term rental bylaw takes effect today. It requires that any property licensed as a short-term accommodation must be the property owner's primary residence and can only be rented for a maximum of 28 consecutive days and a total of 6 months per year. The city says the bylaw aims to encourage owners to prioritize long-term rental agreements over short-term stays. Staff is expected to update Burlington City Council on the effectiveness of the bylaw and recommend any amendments next year.
The Ontario government is considering cutting the length of Teachers College in half. It's to help address a shortage of educators. Simone Gavros joins us now from the Brock University Teachers College campus in Burlington.
Well, Annette, right now here in Ontario, Teachers College programs are typically 2 years over a 4-semester period. But documents obtained through a Freedom of Information request by the Canadian Press shows that the length of the program doesn't make much of a difference. What does matter is the in-classroom experience that teachers do have to get through their program, and that's what the emphasis is being placed on right now for teachers rather than the education portion. Now, research shows that teachers then feel better prepared when they have that in-class experience. The Ontario Principals Council and the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario are part of the call for a return to one-year programs. Karen Brown, president of ETFO, says that cost and program length has become a barrier. Teachers College used to be only 1 year about 10 years ago, but the province had a teacher surplus and new teachers had an unemployment rate of nearly 40%. So the Liberal government at the time changed it to 2 years. The Teacher Federation warned that longer programs would lead to teacher shortages, and now in 2025, the province is seeing that exact shortage, particularly for French, technology education, and Indigenous teachers. Previous documents show that the gap between the number of teachers needed and available teachers is expected to widen in 2 years. Now, this morning, I've reached out to a number of key stakeholders here to get more reaction on what they think about the idea to shorten the amount of time here for Ontario Teachers College. For now, things back over to you, Annette.
Okay, thanks very much, Simone. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump says he's going to meet with Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House within the next week.
A great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, "Let's make a deal." You know, he was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the conservative hated me much more than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer, and I congratulated him. You know, it was a very mixed signal because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race, but he's a very nice gentleman, and he's going to come to the White House very shortly, within the next week or less.
Now, Mark Carney had previously said that he was open to meeting with Trump if the U.S. president respected Canadian sovereignty and was open to discussing a common approach to trade.
I would distinguish between what the president wants and what the president expects. Yes, he has this view of his territorial views. That's never, ever going to happen. You know, we deserve respect. We expect respect, and I'm sure we'll get it in due course again, and then we can have these discussions.
And now, more than
Trump's
ever,
threats
it is a time
spurred a
for
wave of patriotism that seems to have boosted support for Carney, a political newcomer who had led the Canadian and British central banks. Donald Trump reemerged as a campaign factor last week, declaring that he might raise a 25% tariff on Canadian-made autos. He had said earlier he might use economic force to make Canada the 51st state. No way, say hundreds of people who packed a church in St. Catharines last night. So you don't typically hear Carly Rae Jepsen on the hymn list, but this was a really special event. Hundreds of people showed up for the Great Canadian Sing-Along at St. George's Anglican Church in downtown St. Catharines. The free event, it was non-political, non-religious. It was a way to bring people together in song, unity, and Canadian pride, with people singing everything from "O Canada" to the Tragically Hip, Bryan Adams and Gordon Lightfoot. Organizers described it as a way to raise voices, not blood pressure, in the face of Trump's tariffs and questions about Canada's sovereignty. Well, temperature swings are causing a lot of concern for tender fruit growers in the Niagara region. For example, Tuesday's daytime high reached 30 degrees, almost 30 degrees, and then fell to only 2 degrees that same night. And there are more nighttime temperature drops in the forecast. This is all happening at a crucial time for fruit crops. As fruit buds move towards blooming, they are less resistant to damage from freezing.
Let's take a look at sports, and if you listen closely, yeah, you can hear Habs fans crying across the country after the Washington Capitals eliminated Montreal from the playoffs last night.
Right it goes, they score! Off the face-off it came right to Ovechkin, who blasted one home. Off the face-off win by Strome.
I've still got "Call Me Maybe" in my head. Not good. All right, what a start for the Caps. Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL, buries a one-timer off the faceoff midway through the first for the 1-0 lead. A few minutes later, Washington strikes again. Jacob Chychrun sneaks in from the point, and Dubois with a perfect feed in front. Caps now up 2 in the first. Jump to the second, and a ton of pressure for Washington, and it's enemy number 1, Tom Wilson, finishes off the Habs in the game and the series 4-1. The final. The Caps will now meet the Hurricanes in the second round.
There's Lundell. The counter to Marchand. Marchand pulls up back to score! Luster-Raiden!
8-2, Luster-Raiden had a goal and 3 assists to lead the Florida Panthers past the Lightning 6-3, eliminating Tampa Bay in 5 games. Waterdown's Carter Verhaeghe netted his second goal of the series, and Sergei Bobrovsky turned aside 26 shots for the defending Stanley Cup champs. The Panthers will play the winner of the series between the Maple Leafs and the Senators, which Toronto currently leads 3-2. Game 6 of that series is a must-watch game tonight.
Bank back, here is Connor on the turn. It's DeMello with a wrister. Score! Off the deflection, Winnipeg leads.
Love the whiteout in Winnipeg. St. Louis, Winnipeg, Game 5. Dylan DeMello with a shot from the point that gets through Jordan Binnington to give the Jets the lead at home. Jets would add 2 more and hold on for the 5-3 win to take a 3-2 series lead, but lost captain Mark Scheifele to injury. Sorry, not captain, leading scorer Mark Scheifele to injury. Game 6 is back in St. Louis on Friday. If you shut your TV off when the Blue Jays were losing big against the Red Sox last night, I don't blame you, but you did miss an epic comeback. Alex Bregman went deep off Jay starter Yariel Rodriguez in the first inning as Boston jumped out to a 2-0 lead. It didn't get better later on. In the 6th frame, when Chad Green's offering was deposited into the bleachers to put Boston ahead 6-0. But cue the comeback. Dalton Varsho cranked his first home run of the season to make it a 6-2 game. And Anthony Santander also went deep to right field for his 4th dinger of the season. And then in the 10th inning, Alejandro Kirk, who homered earlier in the contest, came through in the clutch with a walk-off single to left center. In the 10th inning, the Blue Jays rallied past Boston 7-6. Will he keep playing, or is this it for one of the greatest basketball players of all time? Well, that's the question everybody is asking after LeBron James and the Lakers were eliminated in the first round of the NBA playoffs by Minnesota last night.
Play tonight.
Look at this. Look at this.
It's loose. LeBron's got it. We'll take it in.
Luka Doncic had 28 points, and LeBron added 22 for the Lakers, who lost in the first round for the 2nd straight season. King James was asked after the game about his future, but said he wasn't ready to make any decisions. The NFL has fined the Atlanta Falcons $250,000 and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich $100,000 over the Shedeur Sanders phone number leak. Ulbrich's 21-year-old son Jax apologized for a prank call made to Sanders on Friday. Sanders got the prank call allegedly from the general manager of the New Orleans Saints as he waited to be picked in the NFL draft. The Falcons said they were proactive in addressing the situation, and they cooperated fully with the league throughout the process.
All right, it is 6:13, and that happens to be sunrise this morning. Sunrise getting earlier every day now, so it looks good. We do have a little bit of sun, but it's not going to last for that much longer. Let's talk about the forecast coming up. But right now, look at traffic, 403 and Waterdown Road. That's our exclusive camera, and that, as usual, is doing fine so far today. Let's go to some MTO traffic cameras. We'll start in St. Catharines. I usually start there and then come around the horseshoe. Here's the QEW at 7th in St. Catharines. Nikola Tesla Boulevard, once again, really hasn't changed. Toronto bound away from us. Still here at north of 2, and this is a slowdown spot early in the morning as you head off the Skyway toward Brant Street, but no problems really. East of Royal Windsor Drive, all the way through the Highway 427 Gardner QEW combination. Doing okay so far today. So yeah, a little bit of sunshine this morning. Our temperature Right now, as we start our day, is sitting at 6 degrees, which is around seasonal for this time of year, so not a bad start. It is mostly cloudy at the moment. Winds are light, humidity comfortable, so no problems there. For school today, we're going to hit 10 degrees. That's about it. I mean, that's way below a seasonal daytime high for this time of year. Even yesterday, we got to 15, but today just 10. Northeast wind, and that's what's going to keep our temperature subdued, so that's a wind coming off the lake at us, and that keeps it cool. But we're going to start off with a little bit of sun and then chance of showers and thunderstorms. We could get about 5 millimeters of precipitation for the day today, all because of that low pressure system. It's going to climb across the Great Lakes, warm front, cold front scenario. So we're looking at showers, possible thunderstorms for today, tonight, into tomorrow, as well as the instability sticks with us, and it looks like it's going to continue into the weekend as well. 17 for the Falls, but 13 for St. Catharines, 10 for Hamilton, 12 to 13 for the rest of the Horseshoe. Showers, thunderstorms, 5 millimeters possible. Tonight, we could get more precipitation, 5 to 10 millimeters more for the Niagara region, but temperatures stay above seasonal, 7, 8 to 11 degrees. And then tomorrow, well, tomorrow we come up a bit, but only 12 for the Falls, 18 for St. Catharines. A bit better temperatures, 17, 18, and 19. But again, possible showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow. So out the door, yep, the sun is up. It is mostly cloudy. The winds are light. Temperature right now sitting at 6. And we will look at the long-range forecast for the first weekend of May coming up. Annette, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at how Trump's trade policy is changing our economy. Welcome back. Taking a look at market numbers. Our dollar is down 11 basis points this morning to 72.40 cents U.S. Gold is down $77.70 an ounce, and crude is down another 87 cents to $57.34 a barrel. In Europe, UK Stock Exchange is trading near the flat line. Markets are closed in Frankfurt and Paris.
In Asia today, Tokyo gained over 400 points. The markets in Hong Kong and Shanghai are closed for the Labor Day holiday. And in North American markets, signs of economic weakness because of the U.S. Trump tariffs dragged Bay Street down a little bit. There were gains on Wall Street for the Dow Jones. It was up 142 points, but the Nasdaq fell 15. U.S. stock futures this morning pointing to a higher open after the big 7 tech stocks smashed their expectations yesterday.
The uncertainty brought on by rapidly changing U.S. trade policy and how it's changing the Canadian economy was a dominating topic of a discussion by the Bank of Canada Governing Council ahead of its interest rate hold earlier this month. The decision came on the heels of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on April 3rd, which targeted a slew of countries and markets. The Governing Council, led by Governor Tiff Macklem, ultimately opted to keep the rate at 2.75%, with some members arguing a rate cut could end up being premature if tariffs and counter tariffs give room for inflation to rise.
Canadian economy shrank a little bit in February, but there is also a little bit of hope for March. Statistics Canada says real gross domestic product decreased 0.2% in February, driven by a decline for goods-producing industries. Service-producing industries shrank 0.1%. However, economists say harsh winter weather could be more to blame than tariff issues. StatsCan's early estimates show gains in mining, oil and gas, retail trade, transportation and warehousing could actually give a slight boost to our gross domestic product in March. We'll see.
The U.S. economy just had its worst quarter since 2022, according to the Commerce Department. Gross domestic product registered at an annualized rate of 0.3% in the first quarter. That's a sharp slowdown from the fourth quarter's 2.4% rate. Most economists say U.S. President Donald Trump's plans to reshape global trade are likely to send inflation climbing in the U.S. and possibly trigger a recession. But Trump says it's all Joe Biden's fault.
GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is quarterly numbers. And we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy.
When asked at the end of the meeting why he now blames Biden after earlier claiming credit, Trump responded, "I'm not claiming credit or blame for the stock market. I'm just pointing out that we inherited a mess." All right, taking a break now. Brian will be back with traffic and the 7-day forecast. Go get some coffee.
Or tea.
Or tea.
Hey, Thursday, 6:24, first morning of May. We're looking at our MTO traffic cameras. Here's the QEW east of Lake, so there's not a lot happening in St. Catharines as per usual this time of the morning. South of 2, coming off the Skyway Bridge, is just a little bit on the slow side. Look at the sunshine here. QEW at Brodie Road. That looks good all the way through Lorne Park. No problems there. I don't normally dip into the 401, but I want to show you this. We have quite a problem here. This is the 401. The camera's just west of the 400. And we have a complete closure of the collector lanes there. You can see fire retardant has been spread across the highway. Fire department is there. One of the vehicles, we've got ambulance. One of the vehicles has moved from completely blocking all the lanes there. They've got that off, but quite a problem in the Toronto area at the moment. All right, let's get to our temperatures. How we're starting our morning here. 6 degrees for Hamilton, for Grimsby, 7 Mississauga, and for Toronto. Around seasonal to start a morning here. Seasonal is 5 degrees, so just a little bit above, but around. 16 for the daytime high. We got to 15 yesterday, so today is going to be a lot cooler. Those are our sun times and records for today. And for school today, we should be 8 degrees for the first bell. The temperature will rise a bit and then be down again to about 8 by after school. And that's when we'll get the showers and thunderstorms as the day progresses. So that's what we're looking at for today. High of 10, that's about it. But maybe 5 millimeters of precipitation today. Tonight, down to 8. Maybe 5 to 10 mils of precipitation. Tomorrow, 17, showers, thunderstorms again. Chance of showers. It's a slim chance, but it is there on Saturday. At least we come up to 16. Beautiful day Sunday, sunny and 16. Then temperature stays right around seasonal. Pretty cloudy for Monday and Tuesday. That's your forecast. And Adam.
Thank you very much, Brian. Workers at the Bronx Zoo are using a homemade puppet to help a baby vulture survive.
The chick is a king vulture, one of the bigger vulture species. It's rather cute, I think.
Yeah,
it's going to grow into those feet, and it's going to keep its creamy white features as well. It will have a darker tail, though. Oh,
looks like it's wearing a shawl.
Yeah. So because this vulture is so rare, zookeepers are using a homemade puppet to feed it. It's hoped the puppet will help prevent the young bird from imprinting on humans and ensure that it grows into a healthy adult. And this isn't something like brand new that they're doing it. So zoo workers have been doing this for about 40 years to help bring other species back from the brink.
Those are some pretty cool images, and the work that went into just the puppet itself.
Yeah, so they did it for California condors as well, I guess, before. That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat. That is pretty neat. All right, stay with us. More to come after the break. Stay tuned.